When I spoke to some Japanese students, they said like they paid 20,000 euros, which is like extreme.
So in my case, it was around 8,000 or something like that. Maybe we lack of time, so we don't think twice about this, but then we realize later. Once we are here, I felt in my case that there was this lack of help. So I was kind of lost. I, for example, had to do the nostrification. Okay, I had to pay that from my own. I didn't know the city. I didn't know how the public transport was working. I had to do a lot of paper stuff. I was here alone. Yeah, most of us were in the similar situation. I don't really want to think about, but I know that there's people who were really mad, especially with the parents. Yeah.
Okay, so basically at the beginning they told you that after 1 year you can go back to Spain, and once you got admitted here, like you found out that's not true.
In some cases, these agencies forget their role, that it's actually help, not like taking advantage of this situation.
For example, you get 10,500 and you get like education for 2 semesters. You attend so many lectures, you attend so many practical lessons, and you pay like 10,500. Then like many agencies, they charge basically the same amount just for like paperwork, which is there during like maybe 1-2 months.
Hello, I'm Judith and I'm here with Peter, and today in the channel of MedHead we are going to talk about how to study medicine, how is the way, which is the way. So as a medical student, how can be the source, how to find a place or how to study medicine abroad?
That's a good question. I think many students, when I ask them, they usually start with the Google search. So they look for the basic information and then they get like many results either from the university, or they can also get like many additional sources from some study agencies who also like explain maybe sometimes more in depth as they have like various experience, not just with the admission but also with the way of the relocation to new country.
So, and what is the paper or the role of these study agencies? How can they help, or how to go through the process to apply for medicine? Or
in most cases, the study agencies, they help usually with the preparation, with the paperwork for the entrance exam, registration for the entrance exam, then recognition of the previous education from high school, which is called nostrification. And sometimes they also help maybe with the visa process, or maybe with foreign police appointments, or maybe with the flat hunting. So this is usually what they offer or what they help with.
and according to all these kind of services and stuff, what are they asking for, like prices, maybe differences from the countries or whatever?
Yeah, so in actually there is quite big differences between different countries. You might have countries, for example, in UK, where agencies ask somewhere between starting from £2,500, but it can be more. Basically, anyone can set its own price from the student. But then you have also, for example, when I spoke to some Japanese students, they said like they paid 20,000 euros, which is like extreme. In Germany also agencies usually they charge like 1 year tuition fees as their service fee, which is also quite expensive. So yeah, so how is it maybe in Spain?
So in my case, it was around 8,000 or something like that. And of course, as young people, we are desperate, we want to get into medicine, maybe we lack of time, so we don't think twice about this, but then we realize later. And basically, yeah, we contact some kind of agency to study abroad and stuff, and they bring the exam to Spain, we make the exam, they keep all this contact with the university, like they tell us which paper stuff we have to do and all that stuff. And once we are here, I felt in my case that there was this lack of help, maybe because don't forget that in case of Spanish people, we are the most of us really young. We come to a complete different country. In my specific case, I just came here by myself, not even with my mom. So I was kind of lost. I, for example, had to do the nostrification. Okay, I had to pay that from my own. How I can translate the documents, where, yeah, some information was provided, of course, I'm not gonna deny that. But I would say that the amount that we may pay, or at least the help that it was offered, it was not enough from what we needed. So, yeah.
So basically, the problem was that at beginning you were offered some services, and then in the end, like, they didn't provide them, or what was the?
Yes, like that was the thing. At first, everything was like fast, really working, yeah, and we were like, okay, this is going good. But then once we got here, then it's really hard for me because I've never done paperwork, and they are experts in this. So it would be real nice if someone would actually help you and not just telling you you have to do this, you have to submit this. No, like I would say that that's the thing. From what we give to them, I consider, I don't know, that really help how to follow the steps. Don't forget that we are young. I've never done such things and stuff. So yeah, I would say that it's not like a really fair trade.
Yeah, so do you remember how were the first weeks in Košice? Like you said, like you had to manage on your own. So what was like the biggest problems that you had during the first weeks of staying here?
So it was really hard. I didn't know the city. I didn't know how the public transport was working. I had to do a lot of paper stuff. I was here alone, and it was so hard. Also, for example, I found my flat in a Facebook group because most of the pages, I don't know, they have much better offers in Facebook groups, to be honest. So it was really hard for me. Also, the language was a barrier and stuff, but yeah. But then I managed how to survive.
Yeah, so for example, the house, like you met directly the owner, or you need to do it with the real estate agent?
No, I just, well, in my case, it was from a immobiliary agency, and I talked to that guy, but I kept contact with the owner of the house, and everything was like really close contact.
Yeah, so it was like through the real estate agency, so maybe that made things more easy. Yeah, but basically your Spanish agency was not involved in that, like?
No.
So it was like only your case, or maybe your colleagues, they were in the similar situation?
Yeah, most of us were in the similar situation. I don't really want to think about, but I know that there's people who were really mad, especially with the parents, because yeah, that happened also at first when we need all the paperwork. It was during summer, so it was hard to translate the things in Spain or even like get the official stamp and stuff, and they were like, yeah, you have to do this, you have to do this. Once we came here to Košice, they made like a visit, and all the parents were there, and a lot of people had in their mind that after first years their kids were going to be able to just take 1 year here and then go back to Spain. But then at that time, when all the process was done, they told us that there were some discrepancies between the university and the education minister, so it was maybe hard to transfer back. So how you can say that quite late, so yeah.
Okay, so basically at the beginning they told you that after 1 year you can go back to Spain, and once you got admitted here, like you found out that's not true. Oh.
That, for example, yeah.
Oh, so okay. So basically how the students reacted then to this?
They were really mad, but at the end they found out and that it's really hard, but they found it out by their own. Like how many credits do you need to go from another university in first, second year, which it might seem a little bit complicated. And then once you are in third or fourth year, you spend most of your career here, so you just say, okay, I'm gonna stay here.
I see. So were there some people who like managed to go back to Spain after 1 year, or how it went with them?
So not many, maybe I would say 2 or 3 in the case of Spanish people. And as far as I know that the people who left maybe after first or second year, either they applied to another university but to start again from zero, or they didn't were able to continue in the same level year. So it was quite hard to enter in the same level.
Yeah, so like they started in Spain or somewhere else?
Mostly in other places, but I'm talking about going to Spain. But I know not many people actually go from UPJS from another universities, but a lot of people go
Opposite way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is also one offer which I wanted to discuss with you, which got recently to my inbox, and I was really surprised with the pricing as an agent. So I just wanted to check with you as a student. So basically, there is one agency in Germany, and like their pricing is like really astonishing. So what is like really because I never seen such a pricing before. So basically, for supporting student during the four years during the studies, they charge 38,000 euros. So what do you think about this?
I think that, in my opinion, that is a little bit crazy amount. I know that as pre-medical students, we are desperate. Our parents would do a big effort, but I think that in some cases, these agencies forget their role, that it's actually help, not like taking advantage of this situation. And I would say that there are some prices and offers that they don't make sense.
Yeah, so for example, in this case, like the price of the assistants is like for the first year, this month, second year, third year, fourth year, like you already stay here 4 years. So for example, maybe in the first year it was difficult to get used to new city and culture and finding accommodation. Maybe for the second, third, fourth year, like, did you still need someone to assist you with something, or you already managed by yourself?
I managed it with myself, but because I didn't have any other option. And also, it's really nice when you have a lot of people from other countries, because some of them, they have much experience about going through the world and all that stuff. But in my case, it was not easy, but I made it.
Yeah, so maybe if you can tell to our viewers, so what kind of the help you would be expecting from the agency, let's say during the not first year when everything is new, but maybe in the next years, like what problems did you face during the studies?
So, for example, it would be nice if someone could tell you how to, like how with the flights and all that stuff, because we know there are a lot of combinations. And they were the older students who told us, yeah, it's easier to go from Budapest, or it's easier to go from Vienna. At first I didn't know that, and I was flying directly from Košice, for example, and it was a really big amount of money. Or also, for example, I don't know, the basics like what to do in the city, or programs, or, you know, to make the life of a student more smooth.
Yeah, and like, have you also solved maybe some difficult situation, I don't know, or maybe someone from your colleagues, like visiting a hospital as a patient here, like have someone had some like, was it necessary maybe to go to local hospital with translator, or you can manage also as English speaking person?
I know that some of my friends, in my case, thanks to God, I never had to go to hospital. But yeah, there was this lack, so they didn't have this help, and especially when it was first or second year that everything is new, we are like a little bit afraid. And yeah, it's a barrier from both sides. Like we don't know Slovak, and maybe some of them they don't know English. So yeah, that would have been really, really helpful too.
Yeah. Because also what happened once to me, once I had one student from Germany, and he was actually here in the old hospital, but when he was like explaining what is the which exactly, in the past he had the similar medical issue, but with the doctors they were like not able to understand like which part of the body it is, so then like helping him was like really difficult. Yeah, so so you said like maybe as a patient, like speaking basic of Slovak would be useful for you, like if you have some medical issue.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I see. Also, what I maybe wanted to point out in the video. So, how much, for example, do you now pay for the tuition fees in the university?
It changed, but because I'm still part of the old program.
Yes.
In my case, is per year 10,500.
10,500.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically now I think it's around 13,000, more or less. Yeah. So basically, what my point was that, for example, you get 10,500 and you get like education for 2 semesters. You attend so many lectures, you attend so many practical lessons, and you pay like 10,500, and then like many agencies, they charge basically the same amount just for like paperwork, which is there during like maybe 1-2 months. So that's like quite like it's quite difficult to understand like the pricing also.
Yes, definitely. Like that's the thing. It's something that it cannot make sense in my head, because you are paying, for example, for university, and what you pay, okay, you are receiving something, but that big amount of money for that small things, no.
Yeah. So, and you also said, for example, some of your classmates, I think you mentioned from Norway, they like pay maybe same process but different money. So do you still remember how much was it?
Yes, I remember it, maybe because it was 4 years ago, but my friend, she's from Norway. For more or less the same process, they brought the exam to Norway, they helped a little bit with the paperwork. It was 500. So my face was like in shock, I couldn't believe that.
Okay, so maybe as a closing mark, what would be maybe your final note, or maybe some guide to the students? Like, does it make sense to have stayed at the agency, or is it possible to apply directly? What would be your what would you suggest someone who is applying just this year?
So I would say that of course you can apply by yourself, but for example you have to come here and take the exam here, or maybe you are not that oriented at first. So of course an agency, it's at first really easy and they explain it to you very well, but I would say that do it with time, because in my case I did it like really late, because I thought I was going to stay in Spain first, and it was my only option. But I would say that if you do it with time, you have a lot of maybe websites or different agencies to compare the prices, what they are offering, or have a big a first impression of who are you talking to. Then I would say that that would be the best option.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense, as you said, like to speak with 2-3 agencies. Sometimes even when the students call me and I tell them my price, sometimes that price is like maybe 10% or 15% or 5% of the previous offer. So some people are like really shocked, like I didn't understand like why they're shocked. I was thinking like I said something wrong, but then I realized like how much other agencies do charge. So basically this video is also for those students who don't want to feel tricked, or they don't want to feel that someone took advantage of them. Of course, like there is no correct price, but in the end, like you know how much you paid, how much and what you got in return. So it's like important to contact few agencies. Usually the offer will be very similar, so you can then even ask them maybe for some checklist, maybe even ask them for some references of the previous students, and then maybe see what is the best alternative for you, and then decide. So thank you very much, Judith, for your insight also. I hope you find this video useful. If so, please make like, and we will see in the next video. Bye bye.
Bye.